Hello and welcome back to Just Painted. Hey everybody, and welcome back to the channel. And yeah, that's right, today we're going to paint the new kit. But today's new kit is sponsored by...
Today's episode is brought to you by Opium Clay. Opium Clay, designer of 3D models for your 3D printing needs. Check him out. He's available on Patreon, Instagram, and X. New and up-and-coming designer with some amazing models. Check him out again on Patreon, Instagram, and X.
That's right, today's kit is sponsored by Opium Clay. Opium Clay is a new cat in the block with a new Patreon. So check him out. He is also on Instagram and X, and I will leave all links down below. All right. And the kit that I picked to paint for today is Mr. Spock. All right. And look at this sculpt, man. This sculpt is amazing. All right. This is the old man Spock. Obviously, look at all the wrinkles and stuff in his face. But this is amazing. Capture that face, like, you know. And the face, well, the actual pose and everything that you actually picked to do this, I believe, is from Into the Darkness. I think that's the last movie they appeared on. All right, which is a new Spock movie series. Spock, a Star Trek new movie series. So, and I pulled this picture from, I think it was a picture for the movie, and that's his render right there. All right, so what am I going to go? Am I going to go with really gray, mid gray, whatever? I don't think that's I don't want to go too gray. I don't think I want to, but I am going to do some aging in the skin and stuff like that, which I think is going to look really nice. But I love the sculpt, and I'm a huge fan of Star Trek movies and series and stuff. I don't want to call myself a Trekkie because I'm, but I am a fan. All right, I'm a fan of a lot of the series. There are some that are out there that I don't like, but for the most part, I like them all. And I think he did a great job on the render and on the sculpt on this thing. This is beautiful. It's got a lot of detail and a lot of wrinkles. It's gonna be fun to do. All right, but there it is right there. And comes with a base. Very simple, really nice to do. I like it simple. Doesn't have to be that hard or that complicated. This is a good type of base for this type of figure. All right, so there it goes. It's got a nice fit. Okay, and it's very simple. I like that. Okay, it's a nice piece. I printed as big as I could in my printer. All right, it's 2 pieces. There it is right there. All right. But let me get my stuff and let's get started on painting this. Obviously, we're going to start first with the skin tone, and then later on we'll do the rest of the kit. All right, maybe we'll do something a little different. I don't know. We'll see. All right, but let me get my stuff and let's get ready.
All right, so let's begin. We're going to start with the base color for the skin tone, which is Tan Flesh by Pro Acro. Here I'm just thinning about maybe 50%. All right, consistency of milk. That's what I always do, and I always repeat it for every video that I have. That's the way I pretty much thin down my paint too for my base colors. All right, so just spread it nice and even all around the kit. Don't soak it. Thin layers. I say this all the time, and take your time doing it. All right, and just nice and gently go around the whole part of the skin tone. Don't worry about overspray. Everything else is going to get covered up later on. So this is just the base coat, and just spray nice and even. Let it dry a little bit before you do another coat. All right, like I said, don't soak it. It's okay if some of that gray shows through, because it'll give you more realism at the end. All right, so there you are right there. Okay, and now we're going to start tinting, and the first color is going to be yellow, Moon Yellow by Vallejo, and just a little drop with a lot of water, and just, you know, generously just go all around the kit. All right, and what you're going to do is you're going to sponge it, and you're going to dab it. You're not going to smear it or, you know, rub it off or anything like that. Just dab it, just like the way I'm doing right there. Just don't leave any pooling. Or if you have any pooling anywhere you can't reach it, grab a brush like I did right there and go into the deep areas and pick it up. Okay, just make sure you got a good coverage with it. And guys, make sure you clear coat between every coat, between every layer, every coat that you do, you clear coat it. All right, and I use UV Instant Clear by and it's a matte. Okay, so here we're going with the red. You're going to do the same thing. You're going to add a lot of water, just in a few drops of paint. After you clear coat it, and you're going to do generously, you're going to go all over the kit. All right, and see how it starts to bead because of the clear coat. You want that. All right, and I'm going to show you why. What you're doing is you're dabbing it off, and you're tinting, but you're also going to leave some of those little freckles that you see there. All right, pick up the larger ones, okay, but leave the little ones in there. And what this is going to do is going to give you texture. And we're looking for realism here, okay? And your skin has a bunch of different types of colors and textures and stuff like that. If you take a look at your skin, you see all different colors. You know, the red, the blues. You can even do some greens in there, browns and stuff like that. So that's what I'm doing here. All right, so picking it up, not letting it pool anywhere, and just dabbing and leaving the little freckles everywhere. You can notice this more with the reds and the blues and browns, but not the yellow so much. All right, there you go. Just picking it up with a little Q-tip. All right, and I want to leave some of those dots in there. Okay, and just pick up the other ones with the Q-tip. There you go. All right, and we're going to move on. We're going to clear it. And now we're going to go into a different color. We're using a blue from Citadel. All right, and you thin it down, and you just repeat the process. Very simple. And just continue all around the kit. And start dabbing it off. You're going to want the same effect. Same thing, leave the little freckles there. Just pick up anything that's excess or pulling anywhere. Okay, and just leave the little dots there. And just make sure you get all the skin. And just go around. And those are just cheap sponges that I pick up from Amazon. They're makeup sponges. You get 100 for like $5 or something like that. So. Just use a new sponge for every color. Alright. And there you go. That's what it looks like. It looks gnarly, but follow the process. Trust me when I tell you, it's gonna look good when you at the end. So, alright. So now we're gonna move on to putting a clear coat and start with a new color. Now this color here, alright, Agrax Earthshade by Citadel. And what I'm putting is a little bit of it inside the cup with a little bit of water. Okay, what we're gonna do is gonna lower the pressure on the airbrush until you can see little freckles. And I'm testing the airbrush there until I'm happy where it is at with the pressure and the freckles. Okay, and then you're just gonna go all over the whole kit with the brown. Now I'm not doing tinting here. I'm just doing the freckles. All right, so just laying down little dots everywhere with the brown. All right. Now you don't want to tint with the brown because I think it'll just darken the skin too much. And all you want to do is just the little freckles. All right. So there you go. I'm picking up all of the larger ones, and with the Q-tip. If it's already too dry, you can just put a little water on the Q-tip and it'll help pick up in or tone down the color. Okay, there you go, right there. All right, you just add some little freckles everywhere. Same thing, you're gonna clear coat it. So we're using the same color now, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna add a little H spots everywhere. All right, and then he's an older man here, so you want to put some of those H spots in there. You don't want to go too dark, where it's going to be hard to cover down later on or blend it in, but you want to put at least a little bit of water and just put little dots everywhere, or larger, spots. Okay. And now we're moving into putting shadows with pastels. The color is red iron oxide, and I use pan pastels for this. All right. Sorry for the noise in the background. And we start just using brushes dedicated to the pastels. Okay. I don't use it for painting. I just use it for pastels, and I just start applying everywhere in the creases. Okay. And now this is a gentle process, because the pastels are very pigmented. Okay, you don't want to overdo it. Just nice and gently just go into the crevices and anywhere where you want to apply some shadow. Alright. And I'm doing the hairlines and the creases. Alright, all around the hairline. In the ears. Alright. In the back of the ears a little bit. Don't forget the hairlines in the back. Take your time doing this. Alright. Anywhere along where the skin meets any clothing. Okay. Underneath the eyes, the eyebrows, the wrinkles. Okay. The back of the eyes. It's okay if you want to put some in the eyes themselves. It'll help you later on when you're doing painting the eyes. It'll give us some nice texture and realism inside there. So, any wrinkles? He's got a lot of wrinkles on the forehead. I'm trying to go in nice and thin. Okay, now you're gonna blow the excess, but just try not to wet it like spitting. Make sure you blow and dry. All right, you don't want none of this stuff is done wet. Everything is done dry. All right, so then you start blending with the filbert brush. Okay, and just go nice and gently. And brush the excess off on the paper like I'm doing right there. All right, and just all the creases and wherever you put the pastels, just try to blend it in. All right, nice and gently. Okay, under the jawline, the wrinkles. Stuff. It looks gnarly. Trust the process. Alright. Everything's gonna come out blending together later on. You'll see. Alright, so just nice and gently all around the kit. There you go. That's what it's gonna look like. Alright, so now we're going with some magenta, extra dark. Okay. And we're just going to apply this to give some blood flow in certain areas, like underneath the nose. Okay, I put some on the lips and back of the eyes. Okay, just right under there, just add some color. Just try not to overdo it too much. Okay, and then underneath the cheekbones, just to get a little blood flow there. All right, and then you start blending it in. Alright, nice and gently, just blend it in there. Okay. And that's what it should look like right there. Yeah. It looks very, very weird, but once you start doing everything else, it'll start blending in. Now I'm using shadow flesh. We're going to add a little extra shadow, but we're going to do it from the 6 o'clock, okay, from the shadow side, wherever the light it doesn't show up too much. All right, so this is like at the bottom of the chins and the jawline and the nose and underneath the eyebrows and things like that. But this is a very gentle process. It's 70% thinner, 30% paint. Okay, and you're gonna do it very gently, very little. All right, don't overdo it. It's a very, very thin layer that you want to do. Okay, and just from underneath, try to get some air in the areas where it's hard to reach, like in the neck area. But it's pretty simple. Look at the top, how light it is, and you turn it. You see how a little bit darker it gets? See that effect? Okay, that's what you want. You don't want to overdo it though. Okay, just very gently, and then you got to clear coat. Every time you finish a layer, you clear coat it. So now back to the original color, Tan Flesh from Pro Acro, and now it's just the overspray all over the kit. Now this is the blending part, guys, and you're gonna want to do a 70 to 30% again, very thin paint into it from far away, and all you're doing is you're lightly misting all over the kit. And this is where you're gonna start blending. You don't want to lose any of those, too much of those shadows and all the work that you just did before with all the freckling and everything else. This is just very light layer all over the kit, very gently, okay? And it's a very simple process. It takes a little practice, but the whole point is here is that as soon as the paint is touching that kit, it's like falling dry on it, all right? So there you go right there. And look how that blending already just brought everything together, all right? Still some touch-up work that you need to do, but that's pretty much the result that you're gonna get. All right, and look how nice that's already looking right there. All right, with all the blending, you still have some of those freckling showing through, and the texture on the skin and everything like that. All right, so you're gonna seal it every time. Now I'm going back with the pastels and red iron oxide right there. I'm just touching up some of the shadows that I feel like they need to be retouched. Okay. Very gently I'm doing this because there's already some color on there. You don't want to overdo it because then otherwise you're going to have to put more paint and then you're going to lose all that detail. But just go around and just lightly go where you think you want to keep some of those shadows and to show through. Okay, so I'm just going over everything a little really gently. Okay, and then you're going to blend everything in with the filbert brush. Okay, and I'm just adding some in the eyes, some of the wrinkles and stuff that I want to stick out, show through. And this is all a very gentle process, okay? Just take your time doing this. All right. And now I start blending in with the filbert brush. Now this is all up to you. Do what you feel that you need to do, or how you want your kit to look. Okay, but this is how I do the process. Sometimes I have to go back and retouch these things up after you paint. All right. I still have paint in the cup, the original color, the Tan Flesh, and I'm gonna go and blend over again once I'm done with all this. All right, but nice and gently you go around. You see how I'm doing the forehead again. And just accentuating those wrinkles and those folds. Okay. And back to the magenta extra dark. And again, I'm going to do underneath the bag of the eyes. Okay. Just add a little more color underneath the nose, lips, and a little bit of the cheeks. You blend everything in. Pretty much what it looks like right there. Just do it until you feel you're happy with the results on that. Now what you're gonna do is you're gonna blend again. And I had a little, like I said, I had a little paint left over in the cup, so I'm using that same paint just to start blending again, and just bring everything together. All that work that you did is now is going to come together. This process is very important that you do a really thin, and from far away, just like the paint's going to be landing pretty much dry on the kit. Okay, then you get a clear coat. Alright, so now we're going to use olive flesh Pro Acro to do the highlights. I'm doing this for 12 o'clock. The light's coming in from the top, so we're doing this for 12 o'clock to see how I turn the kit. And I'm hitting the top of the nose, top of the forehead, top of the cheeks, top of the ears, top of the chin. Okay, very gently again, 70-30. Okay, dilute that paint very well. Okay, you want everything translucent. And it's not a lot that you want to do. You don't want to make it look too pale. See, it looks a little palish there. But once you start adding everything else in, like the color of the hair, the eyebrows, and the eyes, and everything like that, it's going to look a lot better. Alright, once you seal it, everything's going to blend in together. And there it is right there. Look at that. Look at that beautiful skin tone. Very easy to do, guys. And like I said, it might look a little palish now, but once you start adding all the other colors, everything is going to come together. Alright, trust the process. Alright. Alright, so we're going to move on to the next step. And we're using a flat black by scale color. And just going to paint the hair. Just start throwing some color. I'm using a broader brush to start off with. Alright, and I'm just adding color all over the hair. That's going to be your base color for your hair, your black. Just make sure you get all the hairs. This is a very simple kit to do. It's a great kit for beginners. If you follow the process, you're going to get some really nice results. Alright. And once you get that color, black color in there, you're going to start seeing, you're going to be able to make the adjustment to the skin if you have to. But I'm pretty happy with the results. I don't need to go in there and do anything to it. You'll see the results of it and what it's going to look like once all the hair is painted. Now I'm pretty brave by using that broad brush to do the close enough to the outline of the hair. But switch over to a smaller brush if you guys want to. Alright. And you start seeing everything come together now. And what your skin tone is going to look like. Alright, once you put the hair in. Now you can go and adjust it if you have to later on. If you want to add a little more tan or a little bit darker color in certain areas, you can do that with the airbrushes as long as you do it very lightly. I'm pretty happy with the results. And just make sure that you get good coverage in the hair just to start off with, so you don't have to go back and touch anything up later on. Do it with your base color. And then I'm using the same color to do the eyebrows, and I'm just doing little lines going across the whole eyebrow. Yes. And just take your time doing it. If you don't feel like you didn't like it when you started painting it, because it takes a little practice to do that, I'm using a very fine brush to do it. Just go ahead and wipe it off and just do it again, because you sealed it. If you sealed it, you can wipe anything off. And it's not going to damage the paint underneath. Okay. So that's why I always recommend to seal everything as you go along. Alright. This way you're not rubbing paint off, or you're not damaging it with the new paint that you're putting it on. Once you're happy with what your results are, just go ahead and seal it. Just do it at the top of the eyebrows there. And it's not just going to be black, guys. I'm going to add a little bit more color later on to give it more of a aged look to the eyebrows. You'll see once I do the hair. So there's right there. See how the skin is starting to come together. And you'll see a better result later on. Alright, so bright warm gray by Pro Acro. Okay, and I'm going to dry brush the hair to give it a gray hair effect. I'm starting to use that color, and I'm just going dry brushing all over the kit. Now, I put a little bit too much paint on this. You might want to get rid of a little more. what I'm doing right here, because you're gonna be able to tell that I left some streaks. And you don't want too many other streaks to show, but you can fix that. But you want to try to do it without, those streaks, and that's because I had too much paint on the brush. Okay, but we can fix that later on. Right now I'm just dry brushing all over the hair. I'm just gently doing this all over the place. All right. Okay, so now I'm going to use White Sands by Scale Color, and I'm just going to go over, it's a lighter color, and I'm just going to go over a bunch of different places, and I'm going to blend in some of those some of those streaks that I had previously right there on the top of the head, and to try to blend all that stuff in. Alright, just by doing a little try brushing over it. Okay, so the same color, White Sands, I'm going to paint in the eyes. Just put a little bit of water on the paint, or make sure you dip your brush in the water as you're painting. And just do a little bit at a time. Let the paint dry. Don't keep on moving paint around, because it's going to just leave streaks and stuff like that. Just do a little bit of time, just do one side and then do the other. Let it dry a little bit. It dries pretty quick. And you go over it again. So you get some nice results. Alright. Right there. Alright, so now I'm using two different colors here by Createx. This is their Bloodline, Tim Gore's Bloodline paint, and I'm using a blood red and a lip color. Okay, and I mix a little bit of the both together to get more like a reddish tint. Okay, and then we start painting lines on the lips. Go all across, as you can see right there, with a little bit darker color all across the lip. Okay, this is like a really dark, rich pink color. Okay, as you can see there in the middle right there what I'm using, and then you just put lines all across the lip. And now I'm going over it with just plain lip, okay, to give it highlights. I'm using that. Just go over the whole lip. Same thing, just do little lines up and down. Alright, just to give it an effect of the realism, maybe like a bit of a chaps or whatever. There it is right there. That's what it looks like. Okay, we're getting there right there. Alright, skin tone. Cool. Alright, so next up I'm going to mask the kit. I'm going to mask the face with some silly putty. And here I'm using a toothpick just to make sure that the edges are covered. All right. Now you're probably going to need still to do, a little touch up, but at least you're making sure that your whole skin is covered, because you don't want to get paint on it. You did all that work, you don't want to ruin it. So right there with the toothpick, I'm just doing the edges, make sure that everything is covered. And I'm going to start using a white blue by Proacryl to do the highlights on the coat. Alright. So now I'm doing a broader brushing of the highlights. Alright. Just doing a broad brushing, larger areas. Alright. With the white blue. It's got a nice color to it. Alright. And I'm just applying it all over where the highlights would be. Alright. High raised areas on the folds and wrinkles on the higher parts of the coat. And so now I'm going to use an ink, and I'm going to bring this in a little bit. Alright, and I'm going to make it tighter, just the top of the folds, very, very top. Shrink it out the amount of paint that you use it in the area that you use it. Alright, But you do want to accentuate that white, make it really strong. So just let it dry a little bit. Then go back over it again. But just keep it tight. Just the very, very tops of everything. All right. In a smaller area. So see, as you can see there, you see where the white is sticking out now. You start going it over a couple times. And just gently go around the whole kit where the high parts are. So that's real time right there. How slow I'm going. Just doing nice and gently. Okay. Very, very tips. And that's what it looks like. Okay. So now I'm using blue black by Pro Acro. Now on this part, you're gonna make sure that you're using a thin down the paint. Okay, 70-30. Again, you don't want to cover up all the highlights that you just did. You just want to put some thin paint down over it so it still shows through. You're blending everything in together. All right, nice and gently, just go over the whole thing. Don't do it from too close. Very thin layers. Like I said, every time it's thin layers. Okay, see how I'm just applying it? It's still showing through some of that white and that light blue color. Alright, and just gently go over everything. Very gently. Maybe go a little bit thicker on the shadow areas, but not too thick, okay? Because you're still going to apply another color over all this. And that's the results right there. Just give it a little tint of blue where everything is going to look really nice. I'm really happy with the effect. And of course, you're going to spray a layer of matte coat. And now we're going to use transparent black. Even though it's transparent, you still want to thin it down. And you want to thin it down to consistency where I think I went more like a 50%, but you might try a little thinner. Okay, just test it out before you apply the paint. All right, again, thin layers, guys. See, I'm going very thin, maybe a little bit stronger in the shadow areas. Okay, but not over where the light is. Okay, you want some of that light to show through. Okay, and still go very thinly all over the place. Very thin. I'm just applying shadows a little bit thicker in certain areas. Okay, in the creases and the folds. But I'm still going thinly over where the light is. Okay, very thin, go all the way around the kit. Okay, and just very gently go over it. Okay, see how I'm applying a little bit more color in the shadows. Alright. And the airbrush that I've been using for this whole thing is that Gaahleri Mobius 0.2. Amazing airbrush. So here it is right there. That's what it's going to look like. Okay, you got a little bit of the tint of the blue still showing through, and the highlights are still there, and everything's all blended together. And you're gonna apply a matte clear coat over it. Okay, make sure everything is sealed. And here I'm showing you what it looks like once it's sealed. Everything's all blended nice and nicely together. All right, look at the color. And that's the effect that you want. All right, you got everything nice blended together. So now I start taking off the masking. And you're most likely gonna have to touch up some of the edges around the coat, where the neck is, and I'm gonna show you that. Okay, very easy touch-ups right there, but nothing major. Okay. So now what I grab is a flat black. Okay, and I just go in the creases of the jacket. Okay, just to darken up those creases. All right, just with a flat black color, just go over the whole thing. Like the edge of the arm and the shoulder. Just put some black in there. And just give it a finished look. And around the piping of the jacket. Alright. And there you go, right there. Very nice. All right, so now the base is going to be a flat black color. Then I'm going to apply all over the base. Just generously paint the whole thing. Make sure you get a good coverage. Alright, all around the kit. Alright, and just make sure you apply an even coat all over the place. Alright, and just keep going all over the kit. Make sure good coverage. Alright, don't soak it too much. Just make sure you get thin layers all over the place and a good coverage everywhere. Alright. And once you're done, you're going to put a clear coat over that. Alright. So now I'm using a metallic color, and I'll post a picture of it here. I can't remember the name of it. I can't even see it from here. But I just masked the whole nameplate. Okay, and I just applied the color. It's got a nice little purple tint to it, but it's a metallic color. Alright, and you can use any color you want, guys, for that. You can use a silver or whatever color you want, but go ahead and just do that, and just you can brush it if you want. But here I'm using a Viking gold color, okay, and I'm using it to do the circle around the emblem, on the outside of the emblem, okay, which is the bottom piece above the, the famous Star Trek emblem. And I picked that color. You can use any color again that you want. I just wanted to give it like a more like a older, look to it because of Spock and everything. And I really like the way that it looks. So that's why I picked it. It's not movie accurate or anything like that or whatever, but that's something that I picked on my own to put there, and I really like the finish of it. Alright, so, but you can use any metallic color that you want. You can use it all one color or just break it up a little bit. Clean up the edges there. Okay. It's a nice color. I like the contrast with the silver that I put over for the emblem. And here is a silver color that I'm applying. It's just a regular metallic silver. I believe the color is from Pro Acryl. If it's a good paint, it flows very nicely and it gives a nice coverage, even coverage. Okay, just apply it over the emblem. And I really like the way it looks with the gold. Here, just touching up some of the edges. Alright, so here I decided to use some decals. I'm using the Evolution X. Alright, Evolution X Studios, they make their own decals. Frank has a YouTube page where he has a bunch of stuff going on his YouTube page as far as painting and tips and tricks and things like that. But he also has a video on how to use these, and these are available on its Etsy page, and I'll leave all the links down below for Evolution X's decals. Alright, so these are the larger ones, and I just cut out a couple of the different sizes on these to use with Spock, the darker color ones. And now what's cool about these is you can also paint over if you want to make the eyes a little darker, or if you want to make them a little lighter, or you need to re-enhance the color if you didn't cut it right and you lost the color behind it. But so what I'm going to do is I got two sizes. I'm going to try out the larger size first. I got here right on the side, as you can see. I had to take the kit out of the way because it wasn't focusing. Alright, but what you do is you cut as much as the white as you can. I'm going to leave this one on the side here. I don't want to lose this. Right. So I want to go with the larger one. I think it's the one that's going to fit better. Now they all come in different, he's got a bunch of them that come in different sizes. So I would check out his Etsy page and check out the sizes he has available. I recommend get them all. This way you have them just in case of you ever need a different size eyes. You got them available. Alright, so now these are very dark brown, they're not black. So like I said, I'm going to darken these up a little bit. Now I have a video how to do this. Very simple to do. I'm just cutting as much as the whites out. Alright. Okay. And then what I do is I get one of these trays. I put a little bit of water. I'm going to show you how to do one of these real quick, just on one eye. Alright, you grab the eye, you put it in the water. Just let it soak in for a little bit. There you go. Alright. So the next thing you want to do is you want to, I use microsol, and what it does is it contours this decal towards like the shape of whatever you're putting the decal on. So here's like a little oval shape, so you want to make sure that it cures that way and doesn't peel up and anything like that. Microsol helps you set that. Alright, so make sure you have this ready to go. Here's the head. Okay, let's do one eye. We're going to have him looking one way. Alright. Let that soak in a little bit. What you do is you grab a little bit of the water. This is water. You put it in the eye so it just moves around a little bit better. And then you put the microsol after that on top of it. Once you got it in there. You can put microsol on now, but if you want it working time, I'm not sure about that. So that's why I just use water first and then I use the microsol later. So it takes a few minutes for the film to loosen up. So I grab it with a brush. Okay. And just bring it close to the eye. And set it in. Start peeling, trying to peel it off just by brushing it. You see how it comes out already? It's moving. So what you want to do is you want to take that backing out of the way. Go. Now you position the eye. It kind of like slid in and positioned itself, but I want him looking to the side a little bit, but not too much. And what I do sometimes with Frank's decals, you can use. They take a little bit more beating than the other brands that I used to use. So, you know, but very gently, I use a toothpick and I just slide it where I want it. Just make sure you don't tear it. Just turn it because I got a flat side on purpose there. There we go. So that's kind of the position where I want it. You got a little workability on this, so now what I do is I grab a little microsol and then you start just needs to get really wet over here. I'm going to put some on the bottom and then reposition it so this way it starts to do its magic. Right there. Alright. That's where I want it. Alright, so while that's doing its job, I want to cut out the other eye and I want to place it. Okay, so while that's doing its work, hopefully that'll cure right there. So I'll be back in a little bit. Eye in there. Just need to make sure this position right. Alright, then I put a little pink to cover up that right there. I put a little pink on the bottom and then maybe on the top. Same thing with here. This one needs to be repositioned. I just moved it. Alright, I'm putting microsol on just to start making like let it break down and start forming. Alright, so it needs to come down a little bit. I'm very gently going with the toothpick. And I want to see he's looking a little bit this way. I'm gonna try suck up some of this liquid here. See, I want it to look. I like to color the eyes, but I know we need to be a little bit darker. That's it right there. I'm happy with that. A little bit more microsolar. What do you guys think? I need to finish it up, but I kind of like it right there. What I need to do is touch up a little bit of the black around there. And if I do that, I think that'll give it enough darkness in the eyes. So I don't want to go too dark. Mess with it too much. Right there, I think that's it. All right. Alright, so once the decals are applied and everything was sealed, I'm grabbing a really small thin marker to do the outlines around the eyes, the black around the eyes. And I just cut everything too close where I lost some of that, so I'm putting it back with just a marker and just doing dots around it just to get the outline right. Okay, you see how I show you right there what I did. Same thing with the other one. And it just looks like a fuller, more bolder eye. Okay, and a much better finish. I really like the way that came out. Okay, now I'm using the lip color, and I am putting that around the inside of the pupils, inside of the lids of the eyes, underneath the bottom, and just outlining everything. Okay, and in the corner of the eyes too, just to give that realism. Alright, and now I'm going to gloss the lips and the eyes. Just a little bit on the lips, guys. Don't go too crazy putting too much in it. You don't want to make it look like he's slobbering everywhere. But just put a little bit of wetness there. Just, you saw how I just did it. I think that's all I did on the lips, but I'm putting more on the eyes. All right, and I don't show it here, but I actually did a little bit more than what I'm showing there. So, all right, so we're coming up to the end of the video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Hopefully you guys enjoy and learn something from this. All right, and I really love the kit. It was a great kit to paint, very easy. Thank you, Opium Clay. And thank you, Frank from Evolution X for the decals. All right, and there you have it right there, guys. I hope you enjoyed it and you learned something. All right, and I'll see you for the next one. Live long and prosper, and Peace.